everyone, it's Kelly here, and today I'll be doing the ghost stamping technique on my card using a background stamp. And this is the Simple Leaf background. It's from the Basic Gray Persimmon collection. And I'm inking it up with some Hero Arts Snow Chalk ink, and I'm just going to ink it up really well, get good coverage. And then I'm just taking a piece of white cardstock and pressing it right down on my stamp, and I'll just rub all over the stamp to make sure I get good coverage and get a good stamped result. So then I'll just pick up my piece of cardstock here, and you can't really see the stamping on it yet, but once I add my ink here you'll be able to see the image. So I've cut that panel up into these 3 rectangles, and I'm going to be using these 3 different inks. There's Tide Pool, Butter Bar, and Orange Soda shadow inks. And I'm just going to take them and swipe them across these pieces. Just a couple swipes is all you need. I don't want to put it on there too thick. And here you can see that image shows right through. If you put it on too thick, you might cover up the white stamped image a little too much. So just enough to give it a light coverage. And then I'm going to do my second color here, and you can see that the image just immediately pops through, and it's a really cool look. And I also wanted to mention that I use the white chalk ink to stamp my background first, but you can also use a white pigment ink. But the only thing I would suggest for that is to allow that ink to dry first. If you stamp with the pigment ink and go and do this technique right away, there's a chance that white ink will smear. So like those leaf images would smear, and you won't get as nice of a result. So you can use either ink. I just make sure that the ink is dry if you use the pigment ink. So here I have all 3 of my pieces done. And next I'm going to go in with the Hero Arts White Dauber. This is a newer dauber that has come out, and I'm just going to swipe it along the edge of each of these pieces, and it just gives it some nice definition and adds some interest. And you can also just use like a white ink pad to do the same technique, but these daubers work perfect for this. So next I'm going to be stamping my sentiment, and I'm using this Fun Hello stamp from the Lisa's Hello stamp set. And I'm just going to ink it up with some Hero Arts Brown Bark dye ink. And I really love this brown ink. It's a great shade of brown, and it stamps really clean. So I'm just going to stamp that on the bottom portion of this yellow panel here. And then I'll be putting some foam adhesive on the back of each of these. They're going to line up across a craft card base like this. So I'm just going to put some foam adhesive on the back of each of these before I start assembling my card. And here I've decided that I wanted to do a little bit of embellishing to my sentiment before I put it on my card. So I'm using a clear glaze gel pen, and this is basically a clear ink in a pen, and I'm just testing it out on the side, getting the flow going, and it's basically just it kind of gives the look of a clear embossing, but it's easy I can just trace right over the sentiment, and it'll give it a nice shine. So once you get the ink flowing out of it, it's really smooth, and you can see there it creates just a little bit of shine, and it almost looks like it was clear embossed. So then I'll just line up my 3 panels here, and you can kind of see that I have drawn some guidelines. I drew one down the center and then one across the bottom where I'm going to line up these 3 panels. And I think by taking that extra step and drawing some guidelines, it can really make a difference when you're dealing with a clean and simple design. To have all your elements perfectly straight and centered and spaced evenly apart, like on this design here, it really makes a difference in the end. So here I'm just removing the backing from the last panel here and lining it up on the left side. And then once that's finished, I'll just go in with my eraser and erase all my pencil guidelines. And I thought the card needed a few more embellishments on it, so I'm going to use some gold sequins to just kind of scatter around these 3 panels. And by tucking part of them under those raised panels, I think it kind of adds a fun look. And those bigger sequins, they can kind of be overpowering, so by tucking half of them under those panels, it kind of tones it down just a little bit. So once I have those arranged in the places that I want to, the way that I adhere sequins is I use my tweezers to pick it up, and I just place it on my glue dot roll. These are, I think they're micro glue dots. They're pretty tiny, but they are plenty to hold these sequins in place. And then I just use my tweezers to place it exactly where I need it. So this is by far my favorite way to adhere sequins, and they are really secure on there. I've never had any fall off. Even if you try to tug at them a little bit, you can tell that they're on there really tight. So once I have those all in place, and as the final touch to the card, I'm going to use my corner chopper, and I'm going to use the 1/2 inch side, and I'm going to round the corners. And lots of times when I'm round the corners, I first round the bottom 2 and see if I like that, and that. Here I thought I needed to round them all, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So there you have the finished card. I think this is a really neat technique. It kind of gives, it's a pretty subtle look, but I think it adds some fun interest to the card. So thanks so much for watching.